Hello everybody, my name's Phil Willits. I thought we would do a watercolour of a lioness. You can see the drawing there. I want to use this masking fluid. I can show you where it is, there it is. This masking fluid so that I can use a wash right the way across. And using the masking fluid, it can be a bit tricky. But I use an old-fashioned dip pen, and you can see that, and I found that quite good. And I also use one of these rubber ends. What's it called? It's called a colour shaper. There it is. And I use that. So I'll just start doing the highlights that I want to do using the colour shaper to start with. And using this, it's quite straightforward to do. But a lot of people use a brush with soap on. But I've found this. So I'm just putting this on where I want it to be light, very quickly. Want a piece there. I want that quite on there, like so. I have watered this down a bit. I did find that it was difficult to get off sometimes. But anyway, there, so be it. Some of the pores, piece there. I put a piece there. Bit on there. Little bit on that light there. Bit there, so I can just take the wash right over when eventually I do the wash. I'll put some there. I'll put something there as well, and I'll use the pen. Well, I'll attempt to use the pen. I did check to see if it was fine, but obviously it's not now. Typical, isn't it? Absolutely. That's better. Yes. So much for saying that the pen is good. Okay, fair enough. I won't use the pen. I'll carry on with this. That's quite amazing, that is. Just gently tab that there. But I have found the pen quite good. But of course, that was when I wasn't recording. And a little bit just there. And a little bit just on the top there. And maybe just a tiny bit over the ear, like so. And a little bit there. Okie dokie. So that's the first stage. And when this is dry, I'll be back and we'll start to put the washes on. We're back again. If you remember, we put the masking fluid on parts of the tiger, or the lion, if I get it right, that we're going now to paint. Now I'm going to paint the background, and the idea with the masking fluid is that I can paint the background, and I'll move that, right the way through in washes. And I will use, again, the Hake brush, just to recap, really. Again, this is the palette. And just to recap, It's Payne's Grey, Arisian Crimson, Raw Cinnamon, Black, Burnt Umber, Light Red and Orange, Yellow Ochre, and there are 2 blues. I think they are Cad Blue and Ultramarine, and a yellow, Cad Yellow. And those are the colours. That's the palette that I use. My main palette is this one here, and it's an aluminium one. Wasn't really all that expensive, but that's my main palette. That's the palette I like a lot. And so we're going to use the Hake brush, and what I'm going to do now is just put a wash over that. And I'm going to use yellow ochre, and maybe a little bit of yellow to start with, to give it all over. So I'll just start that as I normally do. I should probably have livened them up a bit. So we do that. And so we'll start. Okay. Quite wet, and I'll just go over. Charming. Okay. I'm going to use a little bit of blue at the top. Blend that in, like so. A little bit on the bottom. Wash the brush. Bring that in a bit. And that's it. Okay, I think that should be alright. Just try and put a bit more blue in the top part if I can. And then we'll see how that goes. It's amazing how it all bubbles, isn't it? You can see the bubbles there. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to leave that, let that dry, and then we'll come back and we'll see what it looks like. I think it'll be okay. And then we will then remove the masking fluid from the painting. So I'll let that dry now. Okay, I've finished the wash. Little dark patches there, which okay, that's fair enough, that's there. I'm now going to remove the masking fluid. One of the problems with the masking fluid is that you've got to make sure that don't leave it on the paper too long, otherwise it may be very difficult to get off. And so although in one sense I want to do more shadow and what have you, because we've had very hot weather, I'm going to remove the masking fluid as it is now. and then we'll carry on painting the lioness and all the rest of it. And it just means that when I want to paint things like that, I'll have to be very careful that I don't go over it. It's no big deal, but that's the reason why I just wanted to put a complete washer over, and then everything would be sealed, the white that it will show out, so I can carry on. I'm going to use this to remove the masking fluid. It's called Mask Away. It's made actually in Britain, and it's very good, because if you try and rub it off with your fingers, if there's any grease on your fingers, it will be difficult to paint over any of if I wanted to tone that down after. So I'm going to do that, and I'll start to remove the masking fluid using this, and it's simply doing that, and it comes off quite easily, like so. But even there are little bits that show up, but that's okay. So just go along, gently removing the masking fluid as we go along. And it's as easy as that. Keep on removing it from the plastic or the rubber. I prefer to go one way like this, going down the painting from top to bottom when I do the masking fluid. As you can see, we're nearly there. There is another thing that you've got to remember with the masking fluid. Make sure the painting is absolutely bone dry when you remove the masking fluid, otherwise you could rip the paper. Well, okay, that's fine. That's done. I'm quite pleased with that. That's done that very well. So that's basically it. But that's good. If you see any of these around, I've got this from our local art shop at Truro. But if you see any of these around, my advice is to get one, because they are very, very good. Before that, I always used to use my finger, but the trouble is, as I say, with your finger, there's always grease on your finger. I don't know whether you noticed, but when I started to paint on there, first of all, there was a round circle, and as I painted it, I thought to myself, oh no, that seems that there's a finger mark there. But fortunately, the paint went through it, and it wasn't very strong. So you do have to be careful with all of that. So that's it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to carry on painting the lioness and the rock that she's lying on, and so let's get started. Let's get painting. There's the finished painting, a mount all the way around. Watercolour always looks better with the mount on it. A lioness relaxing on a rock in the midday sun. I used earth colours on this painting, raw cinnamon, burnt umber, yellow ochre, a little bit of lemon yellow, Payne's grey and ultramarine blue. If you remember, we used masking fluid to make sure that all the highlights were protected. I put a wash on, removed the masking fluid, and then we started the painting of the lioness. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that's been beneficial to you. Don't forget to subscribe and push that little like button, and see you again. And we'll probably do another watercolour with the hake brush next time. So thanks for looking in. Keep on painting. Cheers, Phil.